The Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I always think about how he has worked his way up. Connors, Mo and Johnny's, Pacers ticket office. Friend of this show, he is the Vice President, Senior VP of Basketball Operations for the Pacers, and he probably does math better than anybody in the state of Indiana. Peter Dinwiddie joins us. Man with two brains, how's it going down there? Are you doing math worksheets as we speak?
I am not, John. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Good, man. How are things? How are things going?
Things are going really well. We definitely last week with the trade deadline was a busy week, which it always is. But, we went in for that period. Kevin had established a couple of goals that he wanted to achieve. And, we came out, I think, improving the core without really taking away from the core. I knew Kevin, one of the things he wanted to do was be aggressive in the buyout market. Last year, we were able to sign Trevor Booker. And this year, you never quite know who's going to be available. But it always surprises me at some of the players who do become available. And so we were fortunate that we were able to sign Wesley Matthews yesterday. I think he's going to be a player that's really he's a two-way player, competes on both ends. I think, our fans are really going to enjoy watching him play. And, we were fortunate to have the opportunity to sign him.
Yeah, Pete Dinwiddie joins us, Senior Vice President of Basketball Ops for the Pacers. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I want to get to him in a second, but regarding the trade deadline, I forgot, I had Kevin on Friday, and, this is what a numbnut does as a host, right? He forgets to ask a question, which happens to me all the time. I forgot to ask him, was there a plan A or a plan B? Was there a pre-Vic and a post-Vic? Or how did that whole thing evolve prior to the trade deadline?
Yeah, you always discuss a ton of different scenarios. You have plan A, plan B, plan C. But going into it, Kevin had the mindset that he wanted to keep this team together. He thought the team had competed at a high level throughout the year, and he wanted to give the team the chance to continue to compete together and then compete together in the playoffs. So, really the goal was keeping the core together, keeping the team together, and then, trying to see who would become available in the buyout market. And, I know I addressed that earlier with Wesley, but that was really, the plan all along was, let's keep this team together. They've really deserved the right to continue to play together. And so, we're glad that we're able to accomplish that. It's always tough in a trade because in order to, maybe improve your team, you've got to give up a player. And so maybe you add depth to the wing position, but then at the same time, maybe you decrease or eliminate some depth at another position that then you have to go and try and fill in another transaction. So, being able to sign Wesley without giving away anyone or, trading away a player is definitely a move that's going to help the team and move the needle.
Pete Dinwiddie joins us. You just sneezed into the... Hey, Austin, turn your mic off. Hey, Austin, the intern, P, just sneezed into the microphone as you were finishing up that thought. Should I give him an automatic F for the day for that?
No, not at all.
Hey, I was thinking about this. Only somebody with a history at Connor's Pub and Mo and Johnny's can be savvy enough at trade deadline to trade cap space as you did. Well done, man. How does that work, by the way, too? That's one of the things. I reached out to Indiana Jones and I said, I got to talk to Pete Dinwiddie about trading cap space or luxury tax flexibility and space for players. I'm curious how that works.
Yeah, so Houston was a team that at the time of the trade, they were above the luxury tax threshold. And so they were trying to shed some salary. And so we were in a position, there's an exception or rule in the CBA called the minimum player exception. And so both Nick Stauskas and Wade Baldwin, they're minimum player salaries. So Houston could trade them to us without us having to trade away a player. And so that's why we traded out cash to complete that deal. And so we were also able to acquire a second-round pick, which was another goal of Kevin's. He wanted to try and become asset-rich. And so acquiring multiple assets in that deal because we also received the rights to Marty Lunin. But due to that exception, we were able to assume the contracts of Wade Baldwin and Nick Stauskas with only trading away cash, which helped Houston because they lowered the amount of tax they'd have to pay. And now they're completely under the tax because they did a couple other transactions as well. So, they were incentivized to get below the luxury tax, and in order to do that, they incentivize that with a second-round pick, which we were looking to acquire, and then also receiving the rights to Marty Lunin, should be a player that if we need to include some minimum compensation or consideration in another deal, we can use Marty as opposed to sending out cash.
So is it often when you guys acquire players like that, and nothing against Marty, you acquire players like that to utilize as assets where you're thinking maybe they never play here, but maybe we can use them as assets in a deal further down the road? How often does that happen?
It happens pretty frequently. It really depends on where a team position is financially, because a lot of teams are motivated or incentivized to shed salary, and there are multiple ways you can do that. And one of the ways is to be below the salary cap. But this year, the only team that had room below the salary cap was Sacramento. So another way you can do it is by various exceptions. There's a traded player exception. And there are a couple of teams that had large traded player exceptions, but those teams were also financially up against the luxury tax, so they weren't going to take on salary without shedding any salary. And then the third is a minimum player exception. And so we were able to utilize that exception to take on both Baldwin and Stauskas without having to trade away a player. And so it definitely, teams are motivated by different things, and money is a motivating factor. And so Houston was looking to shed some salary, but it happens on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, it's Peter Dinwiddie is the vice president, senior VP of hoops operations for the Pacers. He joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I don't know if you're allowed to even talk about this, but how does acquiring through a buyout or signing as a free agent Wesley Matthews affect financially this team for the near future here, for the remainder of the season? How does that work, if you're allowed to explain?
Yeah, well, so there are a couple of ways you can sign a player. I know I mentioned earlier, so if you have room below the salary cap.
Dude, I thought you just yawned. Did you just yawn just now?
No, I did not.
I swear to God, I thought you yawned. I think I would have, too, when I asked you that. I think my man just yawned at that question. That's all right. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Not a problem at all, John. So you can sign a player. So if you have room underneath the salary cap, you can sign a player with the room up to the salary cap, or there are various exceptions. And so since we're currently over the salary cap, we had to utilize one of the exceptions to sign Wesley. And so we were able to utilize one of the exceptions to sign him.
All right. Where do you guys sit with the salary cap in mind as of right now compared to the rest of the league?
Yeah, so we're currently over the salary cap, but, our payroll is in the upper echelon of the teams. I think when you look at the teams in the playoffs, of the teams currently in, I think our payroll we have the second lowest payroll.
Of the teams currently in. And then obviously you guys have 5 expiring contracts to deal with coming up to the end of the year, too, in some form or fashion, right? Yes,
no, we definitely. This offseason is going to be, busy offseason. That's why, we were so excited last year to get the deal done with Miles Turner, just because it allows you to plan a little bit more. You can plug a player into position, and, you got one hole filled. And so it just eliminated another need for us this free agency. And, obviously Miles is a player that we drafted, and, he's grown and developed, and that we, value a ton. So we were excited to get that deal done last October.
Yeah, I see a lot of people suggest, oh, man, he did it too quick. And it benefits you in the long haul, doesn't it?
It definitely does. And, there's benefit for the player as well. There have been players in the past that have turned down big money, and then the next offseason, they don't receive nearly half of what they could have received if they would have agreed to the extension. So it works both ways. There's some definitely advantages for the team, and then there's some advantages on the player side as well.
People always tell me this, and I don't know. I was trying to get your attention week before last about this, and I don't even know if it's something you can actually answer. But I'm a big supporter of Miles, and I'm a big supporter of Domas, too. And I get a lot of people always telling me, well, you know what, further down the road, you're not going to be able to afford both of these guys. That's untrue, is it not? That's one of the first things people say in the negative to that. Further down the road, when you have to address Domas, there's no reason why both could not fit on this roster. Is that accurate?
No, that's, completely accurate. We know the plan and the vision is to have both those players, playing together. Then, Domas is obviously a player that we can discuss extensions, in July. And so, he's someone who's extremely, valuable. He's a core member of the team. And, the future, looks bright with having both Domas and Miles. Those players actually, Miles likes to play a lot on the perimeter. He can stretch the defense and he can shoot the ball well, from three. Domas likes to play more around the basket. Domas is an unbelievable rebounder. So we see Miles and Domas fitting well together. Now, I know in Oklahoma City, Domas was a stretch four. And, that might not have been the best fit for Domas' skill set. But for us, having Domas have the ability to play around the basket because Miles is going to be playing, someone on the perimeter, I think it's a better fit than what Domas, when he was playing the four in Oklahoma City.
Hey, Pete Dinwiddie joins us, the Senior Vice President of Basketball Ops for the Pacers and friend of the show. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How much did the prior relationship that Wes Matthews had with Nate McMillan play into Wes Matthews ultimately deciding to sign here?
I think the relationship that, Wesley had not only with Coach McMillan, but also with Kevin Pritchard, Chad Buchanan, Bill Bano, I think, that was weighed, significantly into his decision to come here. Just because of the familiarity he had with those names, those faces, it's going to make the transition that much easier for Wesley. And then also, having the opportunity to come in and start, that's an unbelievable opportunity. There are a lot of teams who are trying to recruit Wesley, but he just wasn't going to receive the same opportunity with those other teams that he's going to receive with us. So the relationships that Wesley had with Coach McMillan, Coach Bano, Kevin Pritchard, Chad Buchanan, those definitely played a role, but then also the opportunity as well.
Yeah, I was thinking, did you guys really, and I'm not engaged is the wrong word to use here, but did you guys start realistically thinking about Wesley Matthews prior to him being traded to New York at all, just because of his contractual situation, or did that process get expedited only when that trade happened last week to New York?
So you definitely, you're prepared, and you kind of go through different exercises and try and figure out who are potential buyout candidates. But once Wesley was traded to New York, that kind of expedited the process, as you mentioned, just because Dallas is in a position where they might continue to, compete and try and make the playoffs. And so, obviously, in order for Dallas to achieve that goal, they're going to need Wesley. But then once Wesley was traded and, New York isn't trying to make the playoffs, and, Wesley, we thought might be a player who, would want to play on a team that is going to have the opportunity to compete in the postseason.
It's Peter Dinwiddie joins us. How are things going, man? You sound like you're having a blast, seriously, and you got a lot of work on your desk now, don't you?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, things are going, well. The last couple of seasons have been extremely enjoyable. Working with a group of guys that, compete on a nightly basis, represent the community in a professional manner, both on and off the court. Obviously it was unfortunate what happened to Victor, but, Victor is so positive, both mentally and physically. And, having the mindset every time I touch base with Victor, he's just so positive in his response and his feedback, how he's attacking his rehab. So, he's always very uplifting. And so it definitely brightens the spirits of everyone here, within the staff. And, but no, everything is going well. We definitely, I think, the team's currently won 5 in a row. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that might be the longest, winning streak currently in the NBA. And so it always makes it more enjoyable when you have a group of guys that compete on a nightly basis and they're winning games.
Do you guys you get any financial relief at all when you have a player that's done for the season?
You do. Obviously we have insurance on our players, and there's a formula that the player has to go through depending on, when the team is going to receive some type of rebate. But yes, there's definitely an insurance component, associated with our players, and then, depending on when we might receive some refund.
Well, tell you what, I've had a blast watching this year, and it's going to be interesting to see how Wesley Matthews implements himself. He seems like that he's the type of guy that would fit perfectly in with this group beginning later on tonight.
Yes, no, I definitely. I mean, obviously we touched upon it earlier, but Chad Buchanan, Kevin, Coach McMillan, they all know Wesley so well and obviously they know our team so well and the culture that Kevin and Coach McMillan have created here. That Wesley's just going to come in and he's going to fit right in, and all the guys are going to really embrace him. Someone on our staff said that Wesley's somewhat similar to David West, just that type of personality and that type of demeanor, and how he's going to embrace a leadership role in the locker room and how he's going to fit in with the rest of his teammates. So I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to watch him play and then watching him interact with his teammates as well.
No, I completely agree with you there. Did your phone ever ring about getting taken next level? One of these days, I'm going to be talking with you on here. We're going to be shooting the breeze, and you're going to be running somebody's team. That's going to happen. Are you still one of the hottest commodities of dudes under 40 in Indianapolis?
No, not at all. I'm over 40 now, John.
You are? Was that article that long ago?
Yep.
Wait, how old are you now? You're over 40 now?
Yep, I'm 41.
41? How old's that article then? Like 3 years old? It was Indianapolis Monthly, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Indianapolis Business Journal.
Oh, so now you're like one of the great under 41 guys out there. I've never been under anything.
You got to put your own list together.
I think I'm on a list of we can't wait, no matter what age he is, for him to get the hell up out of here. That's what list I'm on right now.
Definitely. No, I appreciate it. You make it out to Atlanta for the Super Bowl?
I did not. I went to Kansas City, and that was about enough.
Yeah.
That was enough. I did not make it down there, though. But I'm telling you this, there's nothing better than having a Pacer team make a run at it as we get into late winter and early spring around here. And when you look at March, I'm sure you guys have. I talked to Kevin about this on Friday, too. When you look at March, there is a run of games there that absolutely is a bear, to say the least.
Such a tough stretch. No, it's extremely difficult. Our schedule in March is going to be challenging, but, that's where Wesley is going to make a big difference. And, that's where having a group of guys that, compete. I mean, any team that goes out and competes on a nightly basis, they're going to win more games than anticipated. I know, the last couple of seasons, the teams haven't been projected to do as well, as they currently are. And even, after Victor was injured, I know we went through a 4-game losing streak, but to come back and, win 5 in a row just shows how resilient this team is and how tough they are. And so to add another two-way player in Wesley is only going to continue to, move the ship in the right direction. So I'm looking forward to March. I know these guys are looking forward to the challenge. They're going to, attack the month, and they're going to get after it and try and win as many games as possible. But, I know they're looking forward just to trying to beat Charlotte tonight.
Hey, Tony and I are going to be down there tomorrow taping a Connecticut commercial. You going to be around?
Yeah, definitely will be. Where are you guys going to?
Hey, Tony, where are we going to be tomorrow? We got to be there at 11?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to be at the St. Vincent Center.
I am located in the St. Vincent Center, so
and then
let me know, 11 o'clock.
John wants me to bring him over. I won a Budweiser Papa Shot contest. I get to work out with a couple Pacer players, so you might see me sweating my ass off. Bring out the oxygen tank for me. John wants me to take him with him.
Yeah, I want to go too because I want to I want to shoot with Miles.
Joel, I can't wait to see Tony working out.
I do.
I fall over.
What kind of? You happen to know what kind of workout you'd be going through?
I do not, but I might have to talk to Sean Wendell and make sure it's a pretty rigorous one.
Well, I got two things here. I also I'm supposed to shoot against Chad sometime. We got to have that happen.
Why don't we do that tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a hell of a plan. Does he shoot every day?
Chad's a great shooter.
That's what I heard.
But you know what? Chad's a good shooter, but you should see his son, Trey, shoot. His son is an unbelievable shooter. He comes in here during games and gets the gun out and just shoots. And I go down there and check the score, and he doesn't miss. It's unbelievable.
Holy. How old's his son?
7th grade.
Holy crap. There we go. Oh, all right. So, well, yeah, we'll be down there about 11 tomorrow. So
all right.
we'll track you down and hang out a little bit. And let Chad know that. And even beyond that, we got to go out and have a few soft drinks sometime after a game. All right?
We can definitely do that. I
Hey,
appreciate it.
You know
Thanks for
what?
the time.
As always, I'm really proud of you. You know that. I've known you for a long time. I've known you before you're doing this, and I think it's awesome because of the way you worked yourself up around here too. And I could not be more proud of somebody than I am of you, man. Seriously.
John, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all your support.
P, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, buddy.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much. I'll see you, John. Thanks.
Peter Dinwiddie is the vice president of basketball ops for the Pacers. I'm serious about that too. Connor's Pub, Mo and Johnny's Ticket Office, and doing that for the Pacers right now. He is a sharp dude. He may have yawned, however, with that one question. I would have yawned too if I was asking myself that question, probably. That's awesome. Peter Dinwiddie, the Pacers, Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline.